Good morning, 7th grade. Welcome to video lecture number 3. Today we'll be in section 2 of chapter 24, Interactions with Life. In particular, section 2 is referred to on the section entitled as Populations. So let's cover the main ideas briefly, and that is 1. Identify methods for estimating population sizes. 2. Explain how competition limits population growth. And 3. List factors that influence changes in population size. Keep in mind competition caused by population growths limits resources, and some of those resources could be food and living space. Now let's go ahead and quickly define what competition is. Competition is referred to the rivalry between organisms for resources such as space, food, mates for reproduction, etc. Now let's go ahead and cover 2 quick examples. Within the same species, we see 2 trees who grow too close together, and as a result, some of the plants will adapt by growing taller, blocking out sunlight to the other plant, or bigger roots taking more of the nutrients than the other plant can. And then we see, lastly, within 2 different species here, with lions and hyenas that eat the same prey, and so they'll compete for that. This is seen on slide number 37, if you're wondering which slide you're looking at this point. All right. So as kind of mentioned and inferred in that previous slide on slide 37, in slide 37 we stated simply in one sentence, competition can occur among different or the same species. Let's move to slide 39. Let's talk about competition in regards to food and space. Competition occurs when 2 or more organisms seek the same resource at the same time. In Arizona and Mexico, the Sonoran Desert, the Gila woodpecker lives and makes a home by drilling a hole in the saguaro cactus. Well, within competition, we also see that there are growth limits. So, as a result, the competition for particular aspects of needs, whether it be life, where you're living, your living space, food, this happens. So let's talk about that on slide 40. Competition limits population size. In other words, how large a population get. Let's say, for example, our woodpecker who drills its home and makes its home in the saguaro cactus. If the woodpecker nesting spaces are limited, some would not be able to raise young, therefore not passing on their genetics, dying out, and would limit how large that population grows. If food, for example, fruits, berries, insects, became scarce, some may not have enough food to survive, and therefore not be able to reproduce, once again limiting the size of the population. And lastly, owls, flycatchers, snakes, and lizards may actually compete for the same place to live in that empty hole inside the saguaro cactus that the woodpecker made. Looking at slide 41, you can see some examples of those animals that do compete. You could see 2 woodpeckers competing for the same place, the snake crawling up the cactus, the flycatcher on the top right-hand side, and then the owl in the lower right-hand corner as well. Slide 42 and 43 just have some humorous little pictures there on slide 42 and 43. Let's move into slide 44. So how do we measure population size? Well, ecologists often need to measure the size of a population, and here's why. They determine if the population is healthy and growing, and they also identify if populations are in danger of disappearing. Now, there is some terms associated in an image on the bottom right-hand corner that says immigration with an I and immigration with an E. Immigration with an I means they're entering a population, and immigration with an E means they're leaving a population. And then the other 2 words, natality and mortality. Natality refers to birth, and mortality refers to death. Okay, so let's move to slide 45. So there are some populations that are easy to measure. Say, for example, you're raising crickets to feed reptiles. You could simply count the number of living crickets in the container. Now, let's consider a term that goes along with this, and that's population density. Population density refers to the number of individuals of one species in a specific area. Now, for example, that could be the number per square meter. Looking at slides 46 and 47 is some images. In slide 46, you see where there's a representation on a map of the world that where each one of the dots you see is a population of 1 million people or more. So this kind of gives some perspective about the world. Also, looking at slide 47, you see just how many people are in that picture, and it gives you just kind of an idea of just how dense some populations in some cities actually are. Let's move to slide 48. In slide 48, these are just some images I had found. I'm not 100% sure if these are true, but it's kind of interesting to think about in regards to human population density. And that is, if everyone lived as densely as they did in Manhattan, then the entire human race could fit in New Zealand. And also it says, if everybody lived as densely as they do in Manila, then the entire human race could fit in Tunisia. Pretty interesting to think about and consider. All right, let's cover our last slide for today, and that is under measuring populations and some challenges that come about as a result. Counting crickets can actually be tricky. Despite having those crickets in one enclosed location, some things to consider. They can move and hide, so you may miss some of them. You could make errors in skipping some on accident or counting others more than once. Those are just a few things that in measuring populations where some errors can occur. And keep in mind, I'm not just talking about you and me. Ecologists have the same problem, and so they have to do the best estimating they can when measuring a population. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been video lecture number 3. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. Reach out to me like an email or chat. And just remember, we do have a group session this Thursday. Have a nice day, and look forward to talking to you.